know we got it going
Yeah, we
on.
got it going on, got it going on. And it feels so good to be us today. Yeah, we got it going on, got it going on. Yeah, we got it going on, got it going on.
And it feels so good to be us today.
Yeah, we got it going on, got it going on.
Ooh, sweet! Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight. He doesn't want me to tell you how you can follow our personal Twitters on the show's Twitter page, which is @_JD Sports. You can watch us on YouTube. If you're listening to us on SoundCloud, you can just go to YouTube, type in JD Sports. You can do the same on SoundCloud if you want to listen to us on the go. Dwight.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. We every week have ended the show over the last 2-3 weeks saying, maybe we won't do a show next week, we'll talk about it the week after. Maybe we won't do a show next week, we'll talk about it the week after. Yeah. And then two big things in sports happen, so we get on here, we talk a little bit. NFL free agency hasn't even started as of the time of this show, technically.
I was gonna say, I didn't feel like it did.
Wednesday. Excuse me again. Wednesday is when it starts.
So, yeah. The day after this recording is when it's supposed to officially begin?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was later than that. Holy shit.
But there's the quote-unquote illegal tampering period, which is legal Monday through Wednesday.
This is like a DeAndre Jordan thing?
Yeah.
So people can still be held up in their houses and,
yes.
And still say, you know what?
And the contracts can't be signed until Wednesday.
Got it. But the money can?
I don't know how that works. I'm not...
Well, it's like Drew Brees, they're like, $60 million or whatever.
See, he has to get that. Okay, yeah. I don't know how that works because they signed that contract, right, today during the day. But...
I didn't know he signed it. Well, I guess they did say he signed it.
Because here's my thing. If he doesn't sign that before tonight at midnight, going into Wednesday... It would have been $18 million on the cap. That's what he would have received, and that's what it would have went towards the Saints. Even if they reworked the deal, it would have been $18 million against them, plus whatever his new deal would have been. So they had to work it out before Wednesday night, or else they would have had $18 million of dead dollars, basically, because you know he was playing for more than 18. He's playing for guaranteed 27. But as you said, $60 million. And then...
I just don't understand, I don't...
So they did that before. I'm
just not understanding the...
You know how
we can talk about it, but we can't talk about it. We can talk about money,
legal.
but we can't
It is
talk
legal.
about money.
The NFL does give you that grace period of, I think it's Sunday at midnight until Wednesday at midnight. And then Wednesday at midnight, you're allowed to actually sign players. And it's the wild, wild west for the players who have a home yet. You know me, I've always been one of the part of the either, GM side of it or even, the agent side of it. I find all this stuff fascinating. That is something I'm always been curious about. Because obviously Drew Brees signing the money on Tuesday and not it going into not Wednesday, it helps them with the cap. But if he signs on Tuesday, what is that? Does he get the money? Does he have to do it for Wednesday at midnight? So I don't know how this works. It's interesting though.
Yeah, I don't follow.
We have a lot of free agency to get into. That's one of them. Drew Brees never made it to free agency. Not that he was going to go be a free agent. As I said, there was $18 million on the books. It was a 5-year deal. They just said after 2 or 3, they would work it out to be a lot more. He decided after the second year, it's fine. We can wait till the third year to work it out, but we're not going past this third year working out a deal, giving me more money. He got more money because the back end of these contracts, they dwindle down to things like $18 to $10 million, which is, $10 million is backup money. It's good money for a backup, but that's backup money for the NFL, and that's high-end backup, but it's still backup, so Drew Brees is not going to play for that, but these contracts were structured 3 years ago for Drew Brees to maybe not be good at this time, and he understands that, but he's like, hey, I'm still playing at a high level, so pay me this year, next year, and then we'll redo this again if we have to.
We all knew he wasn't going anywhere, bottom line.
Oh, he said he wasn't going anywhere. The Saints said he wasn't going anywhere.
He didn't even have to say it. We knew he was not going anywhere.
Look, I'll be honest.
Nor should he.
Because that division is so up and down.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just
they were damn sure.
That's a lot of money. And look at the 2
weren't
years.
They just about in it this past year?
Yes. Remember they lost on the last play of the game after a bad catch bad play defensively. Diggs catches the game, the most epic playoff game maybe ever. Or ending to a playoff game maybe ever.
Let's get specific.
But point being is, so remember 2 years ago the Saints made a big contract for Brees. They weren't all that good for 2 years in a row. they got good because he was playing on a lower end salary this year. I'm not saying that's how that works because they got a running back in the 3rd round that ended up being a top 5 running back in the league in Kamara.
No, and that division is fickle.
You look at Tampa. Tampa's getting out coached in every game, no matter if Winston's good or bad. And he
was bad all
He
year.
has good and bad games, but yeah, he was more bad this year in the games he did play in than good. I will agree.
Right.
Cam carrying
Yeah,
an overrated, just a bad roster in
Overrated
Carolina.
team. Yeah.
They get to the playoffs, but outside of Cam, there's really no reason why you would see they get there, right?
Like I said, that year they won the Super Bowl, it was a fluke.
And then the Falcons, I mean, their offensive line was so bad last year. As good as their offense overall is, and that defense actually stepped up, and they have a great defensive head coach in Quinn, but
They're every other year.
you have
All
them,
three of
the
those teams
Saints,
are like every
Carolina,
other year.
and then, I mean, Tampa Bay you could throw in there because there's talent, but I'm with the coaching and Winston being so not stable enough at the moment.
There's 3 that are every other year.
But the Saints paying so much for Brees says that they're not really worried about overpaying for him and having to load up because they're not worried about the rest of their division right now. I mean, they think they have really good guys on the outside. Their offensive line, I think, is pretty good, though they had a guy retire this offseason. But overall, I think their offensive line is fairly decent. Brees gets the ball out really fast, so you don't need to get the most efficient offensive line. Kamara uses the space. They don't need to throw it 60 times again.
In that division, which is horrible, all they got to worry about is beating that, which is very obtainable. All they got to do is work. All they need to ever worry about is making the playoffs, and then you go from there, which is Drew Brees, so you assume that you're going to get it done. They should have got it done this year, but, it was a freak play, so. Yeah, you of course they're going to bank on that. What are they going to do? Not sign him? Start over? Like, really? Are they going to do that? Like, I would wonder what
No, Drew Brees,
We used to have
there was no way. They have to go with him.
we used to have a Saints fan on here for a day.
I've
I would
actually
love
been
to
in a
ask
lot of
that person. I would
communication
love to
with him
know.
over the last couple of days.
That's cute. So, is he cool with that?
What the Saints did?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, he said he agreed with me that it's a little pricey, but what else are you going to do? And that's exactly how he put it.
It's kind of what I figured.
Drew Brees is a god in New Orleans.
of
I
course
mean, there's
he is.
just no other way to put it. He won them a Super Bowl, and he's broken every New Orleans record you can possibly think of. He's top 10 in every passing category all time in the NFL. Anyways, he has done 70% of that in a Saints uniform. And
More than that, yeah.
the most historical parts of it and the biggest numbers come in a Saints uniform. He has proven himself to be elite, a top 10 quarterback of our lifetime.
Higher than that, but yeah.
In a Saints uniform, though, is how you would look at all this, right? When you think
Right.
Drew Brees, you don't think Chargers. So
No. You think Chargers?
New Orleans
Joke
as
is on
well.
y'all, huh?
As you said, what are they going to do? Go out and get a rookie, or who's out there? Case Keenum, or who else
was
is out?
available? No. It's
Kirk
all-
Cousins.
Nah, you weren't doing that. You weren't giving up Drew Brees for
I agree.
any of the options.
We going to trade for Nick Foles. You know what I mean? I look and I
Apparently
agree.
the Eagles aren't doing that, which is whatever. We'll get there, I'm sure. But
Um,
no, the Saints had no other move to make. So how many years is it? Do you know?
I think it's a 5-year deal, but
I don't remember.
it's front loaded. The
Damn,
first
how
2
old is
years.
he?
The first 2 years are literally 27 guaranteed.
Right,
I'm pretty
right.
sure 20 of them are in the first 2 years.
How old is he?
It's a $60 million year. You know what? I think it's actually a 3-year deal with 2 opt-in years.
Okay. Well, that would make a lot more
So the
sense.
$60 million comes in the 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
That would make a lot more
Well,
sense.
he's not going to get all 60 as well.
Right, yeah.
Like we said, 27 guaranteed. For about 20 minutes, maybe a half hour, was the highest contract ever for a quarterback. We'll get into that. You said about the Eagles and Nick Foles. I want to talk about other Eagles moves in a second, but my question to you with the Nick Foles thing is,
Sure.
what would you trade Foles for? Because there is a market, there is a number that the Eagles apparently said they have. It's just that nobody has hit that number or market. And as well, my other side of it
Okay.
is this is all pending on Carson Wentz's health. Yes, I mean if Carson Wentz
Yeah.
isn't going to be 100% healthy for the game one, then you would agree to
Actually-
keep Foles.
Actually, I think I'm backpedaling off of that. I was initially on that, but I mean, you just won a Super Bowl. Like you don't. It's what's expected. Super Bowl hangover. So what are you even concerned about? If Carson isn't available, then whatever. Okay, so what? You're average
But
for a year. Then who
The
cares?
organization,
Then who cares? then why they should not care then.
You know the fans.
Y'all
And a lot of other people are thinking repeat, right? I mean, that's just how that's obviously going to go. So they're
Y'all
going to try to load
ignorant-
up as much as they can for this year.
Y'all ignorant people should just be appreciative that you got this one.
You know how I feel. I mean, I'm
Just
glad they
saying.
got one. I would like to
Right.
see them make a run
Right.
for another
Of
one.
course
I
you
think,
would, but I mean,
I think the off-season moves so far have shown that that's what they're trying to do, yes?
sure, yeah.
For sure, they're trying
yeah.
to reload for next year to
Sure.
win the Super Bowl. I mean, that.
Sure, and shout out to all to those players that I'm sure we're gonna get to that just jumped on that crazy wagon. But whatever, I don't fault either side of that situation. But as far as the Nick Foles thing, like
What number would you take to trade Nick Foles? Like, if Cleveland offered you one of their number ones and
he's not worth the number one. Yes, I would take that immediately. You don't gotta say it. And what's the and?
oh, all right. Well, I mean, I think
$5,
It
we
seems
in
like
there.
the Eagles.
I was gonna
seems like
say
the
a
Eagles
second
would like a
rounder.
number one and something else. It sounds like.
The Eagles should. Me as an outsider who has no say in this and
Look, he's had
is just looking at it that
in
if
6
look, okay,
games he had
time
4
out.
really good ones. 3 of them off the charts. 1 pretty good, and then 1 not good at all,
Right.
and another one where he had 2 drives that were just miserable.
Ignore the fact that he had this little run to end up winning the Super Bowl. Outside of that, at the end of the day, it's Nick Foles. I would have said a second rounder, but if they're saying first rounder, okay, cool, I get that. They're gonna go as low as they could possibly go, which would be a first rounder. But I don't think they get that. Hell no.
I
And
also
if,
think-
and if you're the Cleveland Browns, you probably would make that move. But I think that's ridiculous. No, second round.
Well, the Cleveland
or
Browns
maybe
have already
let's
got
say
somebody
okay,
a quarterback that we'll talk about.
I'll even dumb it down. I'll bring it back a little bit. Mid first, maybe.
See, and I'm not.
You're not going top 10,
I don't-
15,
look.
maybe. You're not going top 10.
In comparison
Let's
to top
reel it back
to top 15 picks,
He got a ring, but let's reel it back a little bit. This is Nick Foles.
in comparison to
The
top
Eagles
15
got rid of him
picks,
once.
in no way, shape, or form. That's what I'm trying to say. In no way, shape, or form do I think Nick Foles is worthy of a top 15 pick.
No. Is he worthy of a first rounder? Minus the ring?
No,
No.
minus the ring, absolutely not. With the ring, it's still questionable.
Oh, you're right. And they're going to highball it, but no.
If they lose 38 to, or if they lose 44-41 in that Super Bowl, right? And he doesn't have a ring, but he still put up the 38-10 in the NFC Championship. I'd still say he goes somewhere in the second round to third round. Man,
He's
but
a second, third round.
he has talent for sure, which he has shown. But at the same time, is he that difference maker? Okay, they had a lot of very good talent around him. There is
Yeah,
no
right.
question.
Look, if you're the Eagles, you definitely want to get as much as you can, and I don't fault that. I think, and to that point, I think it.
Speaking
I
of
guess-
Nick Foles, he was here on the Philly
I didn't even
special.
realize you were wearing.
He was
another
right
damn-
here on the Philly special. That would be.
How many more damn?
This one's Trey Burton.
That's Trey Burton. Okay, he's now with the Chicago Bears. We'll talk about
Back
him.
in a second. That's Clement. So Foles got the snap. Okay, he was here, handed it off to here, right? Or actually, no, Foles faked something, right? And then the snap
Actually went to Clement, and Clement
went to Burton. Burton came across here. Everyone made some good blocks here.
Now we're done
Defense
with this
came in.
dumb nonsense.
It's the Philly special. Shout out to my mom. This is actually my dad's shirt, but I was looking for Eagles stuff to wear because I'm going to wear something Eagles for the Super Bowl for a long time, and my mom was like, "Oh, here."
Fairly special. I didn't know we were talking about cheesesteaks. Anyway, I don't know what I was saying.
We were talking about
Talking
Nick Foles. So
ridiculous
I look at it
shit.
this way. Also, my thought with Nick Foles is I
we're
wouldn't
talking about the Eagles.
personally. I wouldn't trade Nick Foles because of the Wentz situation. You just want to make sure he's
That's
healthy when he comes
ridiculous.
back.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Y'all got your ring. Relax, pump the brakes. You sign all these people. You can go top heavy the following year. You can be average for a year, which is it's expected anyway because it's a Super Bowl hangover or whatever. So
They also got a lot
whatever.
of really good defensive pieces.
And you can also just finesse somebody. Why not?
I
Finesse the Nick Foles thing. Yes, duh. And I'm saying
I
that as
don't
a
think the
Cowboys
Eagles-
fan, and that just benefits
I
y'all.
don't think the
Finesse
Eagles
that.
are going in that route at all. I think the Eagles are going 110% on trying to win a
That's-
Super Bowl
that's
again
ridiculous.
this year. Don't you?
I think it's ridiculous. Yes, I do think that. And I think it's ridiculous. Because I think you can finesse it, and like I said,
Look, I think the hardest. I think
It
the
could go either way
NCAA
then, but-
tournament and the NFL. I think in the Super Bowl. I think those are the two hardest things to repeat in.
you know why it's stupid? Because Carson Wentz will be playing at some point next year, correct?
Yeah, you would. He is hoping first week. You're hoping. We're all hoping first week. That's what you.
I'm not hoping.
Not
but-
you. That's what the Eagles are hoping. If you're talking about trading
And guess
Foles
what?
or not.
If he comes back week 4, who's starting?
And you're 0-3.
So, it's Carson Wentz.
But if you trade it, Foles, right, and now you have Nick Sudfeld as your quarterback.
So, and you're 0-4,
I'm
okay?
just
And
asking.
Carson Wentz comes
I'm just
back, and
asking.
in that division, and yeah, but you
Because the
still
Cowboys
finesse
are your
somebody.
biggest threat in that division.
So, and you just finesse somebody, you can make a run. Yeah.
With how good, okay, and look, the Eagles' defense as well. You wouldn't think they would go 0-4. The Eagles could hopefully hold one or two of those teams to under 20 points. You know what I mean? They held a lot of teams under 20 points last season. It seems like the Eagles' defense have only gotten better early in the off season.
Nick Foles will be back before midseason. You will be fine. Finesse the situation. I'm saying this, and this, like I said, that only benefits y'all, and I'm saying something that would actually benefit y'all. Why not? Benefit, get a pick. Get
I'm
whatever
not
somebody
against
wants
them
to get.
trading Nick
I
Foles.
don't get this, we're all in immediately, day one. Like, you got 17, 16 games, whatever it is.
I'm not
and
against
Wentz is
them
coming back, and Foles is going to be sitting there chilling like he's
Trading
going to
Nick,
be.
I'm not against them trading Nick Foles. I'm not against them keeping Nick Foles because
Make a decision.
excuse me. No, but I see the upside on both of them, and honestly, there is no downside going into it day one of training camp. If they have Nick Foles,
Make
I
a
won't be
decision.
upset.
Make a decision.
If they trade Nick Foles, I hope that they finesse somebody the way that you're saying.
Skip Bayless, make a decision.
If they can get a first rounder or whatnot, yeah, go for it. Trade Nick Foles.
Okay.
They also traded I think it was a 5th round pick, a undrafted rookie who was on the Eagles practice squad all season.
He got a ring too. You should have kept him.
They traded him for Bennett from the Seahawks
Mm-hmm.
and a 7th round pick.
Finesse the Seahawks, huh?
My question to you: What in the world were the Seahawks? I mean, is it that they wanted him out of their locker room that bad? They got rid of Sherman for absolutely nothing.
Well, I was going to say, because of the Sherman situation, they're clearly done. They blew it up. They're done. They're done.
Earl Thomas, Cam
I
Chancellor.
don't necessarily understand it, other than they feel like we can't
With
do
Cam's
anything more with
injury-
this, which I'm like, why you can't do one more try? Like, with everybody healthy, like, you can't try one more? Like,
Bennett's been
why
a
is
top-
why is this done? Like, I don't
Bennett-
feel like it's, did you feel like, overall, with all of them healthy, did you feel like that was done?
Not that I felt
They don't
like
have another
that-
year?
Not that I felt that the defense is done. The reason I think the Seahawks are doing this are because what they have 42 touchdowns last year, and 41 of them literally came from either Russell Wilson's arm or legs.
Right.
So they want to get healthier and better on the offense, specifically the offensive line, but they want to get some guys on the outside for Wilson as well. I'm not saying that's justification for blowing this up, because Sherman, you can't go back to 2011, even though if you go back to 2011, he's a top 3 cornerback in every statistical number. But in the last 3 years, hasn't been as good, but has also been a little injured.
Yeah.
2, has also been doing it more by himself. Cam Chancellor's been injured
Right.
more. Earl Thomas has been injured more.
You're still not
The
necessarily
only
throwing his
consistent
way either.
player he's had on that defense is Irving, who is the linebacker. He's one of the top 5 linebackers in the league. And then Bennett, who has been proven to be one of the top 5 defensive players in the league. He's only gotten better the last 5 years. Like, his numbers have statistically just shot up crazy. And the Eagles, as you said, got him for
Nothing.
They finessed him. I mean, they got him for nothing. For his numbers over the last 5 years, they've got him for nothing. The thing that a lot of the Eagles fans aren't the biggest fans of are he's more outspoken. You know, the whole
That's
protesting
ironic.
thing. Right.
Oh,
you
the
look at.
protest, what? I don't know. What is it? Oh, okay. Never mind. I just had a thing for a second.
Well, he said
Oh,
about.
so-
He said he also. He
so-
said that a cop. He said that a cop. Did
know.
whatever thing in Vegas, and it really wasn't what he said.
It's the same fan base that shitted on Mike Vick, but then when he produced, it was like, oh, Mike Vick, yeah. Like, shut up. When he produces, it's gonna be like Philly.
I looked at it this way. Yeah, I kept saying. I look at it this way.
Like,
If
they're
you-
gonna be on that. Let's do a sing along with him. Like, shut up.
If you.
It's so easy to
If
make these
you-
statements now.
if you look
but
at
when
that-
he produces, you're gonna be like, yeah.
If you look at how good he was the last 5 years, and if you look at Chris Long, Brandon Graham, him, Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett. And then right before we started recording this, I found out that the Eagles got Haloti Ngata as well. So that defensive line is stacked. That's 6 guys right there who are legitimate studs and who would start basically anywhere and you would fear most offensive lines. The Eagles traded for a cornerback. They traded Torrey Smith for that. We'll get into the offense here in a second with the Eagles. And they also picked up a linebacker, Nelson, from the Broncos, who was a piece with the Broncos. Championship run. Sorry. So the Eagles offense. They traded away Torrey Smith. They released Brent Selleck the day of this recording, and Trey Burton wanted too much money, so they let him walk in free agency. He went to Chicago on a 4-year deal, I think $50-some million. So congratulations to him, the big guy with the Philly special there. He's the one who threw the touchdown. But
whatever.
He had a great. He went from an undrafted free agent and to making $50-some million. That's a great story. The offense, though, they got to figure. They like Billy Brown, so you have Zach Ertz and Billy Brown. So they have to draft a tight end.
They don't have a wide receiver.
Alshon?
Who did they just trade?
Torrey Smith.
Torrey Smith, that's right.
But you have Alshon. I don't think Nelson Aguilar's number 2. He did so good in the slot. Leave Nelson in the slot. He did so good in the slot. Leave him in the slot. So they need to go out. They need to go out and draft one. They need to draft a tight end. They need to draft a wide receiver.
You might want to sign one or the other.
Well,
might want to sign a wide receiver, draft a tight end.
Shout out to Lane, and there's a lot of wide receivers out there to be signed, so why not? Shout out to Lane Johnson as well, who restructured his deal. On the back end, he's going to get more money, but on the front end, he opened up $7 million of cap space for this year and $3 million for next year, which, I mean, that helpful if they're going to try to sign a free agent, wide receiver. They also like to do things on 1-year deals or 2-year deals. They had Torrey Smith on a 2-year deal, so he's traded away. Now he only has 1 year left on that contract. But Chris Long was on a 2-year deal, but you had Blunt on a 1-year deal.
Did y'all ever sign Blunt?
No, they did not. So that's another situation that I was talking to somebody about. What do they do at the running back position? Maybe they will go after LeGarrette Blunt. I haven't heard any news on him as of this recording. Danny Amendola went to the Dolphins, speaking of expatriates. So, which we'll talk about the Dolphins.
All right. I'm still, hold on. We need to go back to the Seahawks for a second. So going back to that point, do you feel like, because I don't feel like we really answered that, do you feel like they gave up too soon? Like, do you feel like, because here's my thing. I feel like they could have had, just try one more run and see what happens. You want to add
Is
pieces.
there a way?
Hold on, listen. You want to add pieces, obviously, offensively, because they need to. But defensively, I feel like they blew that up a year too early. Like, because like we've said, they haven't been healthy. This, that, and a third. Okay, yeah, maybe you can say, well, they're overpaying. I don't think you cut all of them, though. Maybe you cut 1 or 2, but you keep the other ones. To blow it up all together like they seem like they have, which they did, I think it was a year too early.
Is there a way to keep Bennett in that contract, to keep Sherman and not pay him a lot of money?
Keep Bennett, get rid of Sherman. They couldn't have done that? Keep one or the other. I would keep Bennett at this point, I guess.
Yeah, I think Bennett has more left in the tank.
Right, sure. Okay, so then you run with, who else is left?
Thomas.
Yeah.
Cam Chancellor has been injured, but he might come
Right.
back healthy this year. He'll
Right.
be back for week 1, they said. He has a big contract as well, and no one wants to trade for him. So I think that's kind of
Right.
part of this. Man, maybe
You think they just...
maybe they like their secondary though. Griffin.
Oh, man. So what? So Chancellor is there, right?
Yeah, Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas are still there.
That's good, but... Yeah, I don't
Irving's
think-
still there. The linebacker. They have another middle linebacker that's still there, who's pretty good.
I don't know. Maybe it just sounds worse in my head than it is, but...
You also have Pete Carroll.
Right. I mean, I guess if you cut, those 2 or 3 pieces that are, big contracts. you
Maybe
can-
those are the
you
2
can
pieces
go out-
that they're looking at the way you're saying here, not blowing it all up. Maybe that's just the
Yeah.
2 pieces that they felt were the most expendable.
All right, and then you can sign.
They have to get so
some
much
linemen.
better. They
could
have to get
sign
better on the offense. They have no choice.
offensive line.
41.
Can we focus on the line first?
41 of 42 touchdowns came from Russell Wilson. You have to figure out, and yeah, sure, I'll take
Number
the
one,
line
the
being the
line,
better.
number one.
Whatever, I'll take that, and I agree with you. That is their biggest issue.
Number 2 receiver.
You need to get better. Yeah, sure, receiver,
I mean, they got rid of the tight end too. So I mean,
running back, tight end, whoever.
they got rid of the tight end too. Let's not forget Jimmy Graham's
Somebody.
gone. Jimmy Graham's gone. Not that
Somebody.
he was anybody.
Create a player in Madden and put him out there. I mean, like, they have nothing going on for them right now.
No.
I think they will try to at least go out there and make splashes. You know who's available because of Jimmy Graham getting signed by the Packers, who you just said got released, or who didn't get picked up by the Seahawks?
I can't believe this.
Jordy Nelson's available. Guess
Why?
Guess who needs a receiver? Seahawks.
Cowboys, Eagles,
Seahawks.
I'm sure a lot of teams in the Jordan. Are you kidding me? Why did they do that?
Because they wanted Jimmy Graham, who has not produced anything in the last 5 years. 3
Who did
years.
Aaron Rodgers want? You think he wanted Jimmy Graham
I
or
think Aaron Rodgers gets what Aaron Rodgers wants, personally.
So you're saying this was his decision?
I'm not
Don't
saying...
say that.
I think it
I
was
know.
ran by him.
He was just like, alright. So you literally let's talk about the Packers. Okay, so you literally get rid of your best wide
They
receiver.
got to get better on defense. You also pay a lot less for Jimmy Graham. I think it was
And
a
you're
$10
getting
million
Jimmy Graham
contract to
talent.
like a $7 million.
And you're
Well,
getting-
I'm
which
not disagreeing.
Jordy Nelson's a top 3 receiver, 5. Let's say 5. Okay, let's just say 5.
When healthy, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Jeremy-
I think he
Nelson
has been
is-
with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Okay, fine. Top 5. Jimmy Graham's a top what tight end?
15, 20, maybe
this
right
point-
now.
at this point,
yeah,
right.
today.
So what?
Well,
What? Or-
what does Nelson do then? Nelson's more like a top 10 receiver. I mean, I don't know if he's in that top 5 group. Julio, Antonio.
I'm gonna be mean and say Dez. Let's say Odell for the hell of it. Right. Number 5 is who?
Keenan Allen. But I mean, I'd put Keenan
Fine.
Allen.
Okay, I'll take Dez out.
But
So,
I'll-
okay, so who's number 1?
But I'll put Keenan Allen. I'll put
I'll take Dez out. That's number 4.
I'll put Landry. I'll put
Maybe.
I'll
See-
put Alshon. I'll put Jordy. I'll put all of them in that realm of right there as the B receivers. They're maybe not top 5 or top 3, but they're all in there as a top 10.
Top B. It's not a B.
They're all top 10 though. Okay. Yeah, he's
Fine,
in that. He's in
fine.
that 4 to 7 range. Then sure.
Fine. Okay, fine.
Whatever.
Right. Okay, fine. So you give that up for a top 20 to 32.
Maybe that's
tight
not
end?
why. Look, they did gain a lot of cap space by doing it. It's not just by doing that, but they signed Graham as they were releasing Nelson. It was just
I mean, I don't know what the wide receiver game's looking like free agent wise, but I mean, especially at this point now that everybody's
it's always
basically
pretty
signing,
deep.
but-
It's always pretty deep. Also in the draft, it seems pretty deep usually as well.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just a wild move to me. That was one that really stood out to me. I was like, really? Packers. Literally, how many, we've been doing this, this is the 3rd year, we're going into the 4th one coming up this year.
Yeah.
We've been saying the Packers have Aaron Rodgers and his boy, who was Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, and
now
yeah,
it's
no, you're
Aaron
right.
Rodgers
Now we
and-
have to have something.
Who does he lean on at this point? He doesn't have a defense, he doesn't have a running back. Now he has no wide receiver.
running
The
back
tight end
was a wide
situation
receiver.
was,
Got a new tight end. Can't
which,
block.
I mean, he might do better there, but he's not going to do Jordy Nelson numbers. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they do, but I think that's a wild move on their part. It might be more wild. Is it more wild than the Bennett situation? I think so. It might be. Yeah.
Depending on how they both what they both do with them, because now we're talking about 2 teams here who are. When you're talking about teams that are going to compete for the top in the NFC next year, you're talking Eagles, Seahawks, Packers, Cowboys. You would presume
All those teams.
Vikings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
At this
Atlanta,
point.
Saints, Carolina, maybe one of those. What? But point
There's a
being
mix.
is,
There's a mix of another 5.
we're talking 2 teams here who made really 2 moves to they did not get better at those positions by getting rid of these players. These were cap space moves. These are top players at their positions on their roster. That's something you don't see often and every day.
Man, especially. I just can't get over this Packers situation because I'm just like, you don't get rid of a top. Okay, let's just say he's number 10. Okay, you don't get rid of a top 10 receiver like that though. You just don't do that because it's not easy to come by. You're not going to get a top 10. No matter what they do, they're
No.
not immediately getting a top 10 wide
And
receiver.
they probably look at it as they can just draft somebody, but you're not going to replace Jordy Nelson by just drafting somebody.
Hell no.
Aaron Rodgers also is as good as it gets. I mean, he's as good as Tom Brady. He's as good as the top quarterbacks have ever been, as elite as it has ever come at this level. His talent is far and none maybe the best ever at the quarterback position. So when you look at what Brady has done over his career with nobodies, I mean, yeah, I'll give you Edelman and Amendola, and you want to talk about Swelker, but really, how good are they outside of the Patriots? I mean, I guess we're going to see with Amendola, or Edelman, which one? Amendola. I think Amendola is the one that signed with
Yeah.
the Dolphins that we were talking about earlier. But my point is you talk about how good Aaron Rodgers is, you're hoping he makes his receivers good, right? And you're hoping that you can get better everywhere else, aka the defense, because how bad is that defense? And how much do you always say Aaron Rodgers has to do it all by himself, even though their running back was a wide receiver this year. So I'm not disagreeing with you. They got to figure something out.
They can make it. I don't know.
Where's their money other than Aaron Rodgers? We're not really sure.
Right, yeah. I guess we just got to wait and see. But, yeah, that move blew my mind. That's wild to me.
So
Yeah, I didn't agree
another
with it, but
move
we'll see.
that blew my mind.
Yeah. Not so much, but
We're going to talk about the good side of this.
why do we know what each other's talking about? Right, that's fine.
Where were you going?
Cousins.
No.
No, all right. Never mind. JD Sports ain't out here.
I was going to go with the good side of this is the Browns getting Tyrod Taylor. The part that blew my mind was the Bills trading away.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it did too.
The Bills.
Yeah, the Bills.
Let me set this up for you.
Actually, it pissed me off.
Let me set this up for you. We're going to talk about the Browns
My immediate
first.
reaction
We'll
was,
talk
what?
about the Bills in a second because I'm with you on the Bills not making any sense. Because I just want to set this up for you. Actually, you know
pissed me
what?
off.
We'll
And
talk
it-
about the Bills right now. Let me set this up for you. Dwight,
And then I need to say that, yeah.
as a Cowboys fan, let's just say Romo never existed. Let's just say they were a bad 20 years altogether. You were rotating.
they were.
Well, you were rotating quarterbacks. You never even made the playoffs. Okay, over the last 20 years, I'm saying
That's
you.
what everybody says, right?
But no, I'm saying, but you've never done like I'm. All right,
saying.
you finished. The closest you ever finished to winning division is like 4 games out or whatever it was.
Ask
Okay.
any Eagles fan on the street, and that's what they're going to say.
Last year, Dak leads you. You get second in the division finally for the first time in forever. You make the playoffs.
That's what's up.
First time in 20 years.
Beautiful. Damn. Feels good.
Browns call and trade. You trade your quarterback for a 4th-round pick. First quarterback that brings you to the playoffs in 20 years, you trade him for a 4th-round pick. For really no other reason than
They're,
the Bills.
yeah.
They are the Bills.
You know, we were talking about Saints fan. I would love to have the Bills fan, the one and only, the greatest Sheets employee.
Is the grass green? Is the sky blue? Tell you what, the best Sheets employee of all time. Yes, he is.
We need to have Terry Webb
T-Sizzle.
on here talking about the Bills because
The original T-Sizzle.
I would love to know his reaction. He would probably say, "Yeah, that's a Bills move right there.
That is a Bills move.
I don't condone that, but that is a Bills move.
That's a
right
Bills
there."
move. Do they like Nathan Peterman
Whew.
that much?
Oh man, there's some. You gotta have, like you said, you made the Cowboys comparison in the 20 years that situation like that is. You gotta have some gall, some balls, some ignorance.
And I was just setting it up because that's your team. I was just
Right,
trying to put it
right.
as like, how would you feel if your
Right.
team did that?
I'd be
Because
pissed off, which it
it's
pissed me
just
off as a non-fan. I was like, are you
absolutely
kidding me?
ridiculous. First time in 20 years, you literally came in second in your division,
That's
and
just ignorant. Ignorant.
you've been praying for. You hired Rex Ryan at one
Ignorant.
point. That's how desperate you were to become second
But
in your
he's
division.
great. I'm never gonna let you live that down. Anyway, but yeah. Yeah.
And you trade Tyrod Taylor. So the good side of this is for the Browns, by the way. Congratulations to the Browns for winning that trade.
No, because then I was like, when the fact that it was the Browns, I was like, what, that's a Browns
They're
move.
not
So I guess
gonna win what? That guarantees you 5 games, maybe. That's it.
that he starts.
That's no, I meant win, but that's 5 more games that they won. 5 more wins than last year.
Yeah. R.I.P. his career.
4 more than the year before.
Yeah. If that, I don't know, but
I think they can get 5 wins next year.
Optimism in March. That's what we do here.
Jarvis Landry, Tyrod Taylor,
No.
maybe Saquon Barkley now. Now I don't mind if they would draft Saquon Barkley first overall. You still got to figure out your
They
offensive
obviously
line
look better.
situation. You have to figure out your offensive line situation. They did not fix that in my eyes. Not saying I know if they have a bad offensive line or not, but
They obviously look better on paper, but they're also the Browns, so you automatically
Oh,
assume they're
agreed.
going 0-16. So
okay, I hear you.
that's why
They got to win a couple games for us to even think about them winning a
Yeah.
couple games.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you said quarterback, I forgot about the Tyrod Taylor situation. I thought you was going to bring up the Vikings situation, which
We'll talk
really
about
did
that.
piss me off.
Because the other thing I want to talk about with the Browns,
Mm-hmm.
they got Jarvis Landry for a pretty cheap investment to a 5th round pick or something like that. What I really want to talk about in that situation was the Dolphins. Dolphins traded the Eagles J.J. for a 4th round pick. Turned out to be a really key piece for the Super Bowl. Jarvis Landry, their best wide receiver, arguably their best offensive talent left.
That's factual.
Traded for a 3rd or a 5th round, whatever it was, after you already wasted the franchise tag on him, which you can't do more than once. Less than 4 days after you wasted the franchise tag on him. And then, the day of this recording, we find out they they paid Ndamukong Suh, their best talent overall, the strongest man in the NFL. They paid him to leave. So a 4th round pick, a 3rd or a 5th, I can't remember, and then paying Ndamukong Suh. That is literally their 3 best talents, right? I mean, would you say that's
their talent. That's
was that
not
their
best.
was that their
talent.
3 best talent? Was those the 3 best players
No,
that they had?
Yeah, that was the talent. There's no.
That was the
best.
3
That
best
was the
talents they had.
talent. That was the talent.
I think I agree.
That was the talent. Were you backing on the quarterback? That no, you're not.
Sometimes you
And
gotta
what
take
else?
2 steps
What
backwards
else?
to go 2 steps forward, Dwight.
Trust the what? Trust the what?
They are in no man's land.
Dude,
The Dolphins have literally gone off.
I could almost pass the situation if you feel like I don't know what his numbers were last year, but
Are we talking about the Browns or the Dolphins at this point?
yeah, I'd almost let the soothing pass. If you kept the other pieces and thought you were overpaying them and you get better, maybe. But the fact that you got rid of him and then you got rid of
He is such a
dominant
force. He's a top 3 defensive
like I said,
nose
I don't-
tackle. He's a top 3 in the
I don't
league.
know what he did last year. I have no clue. But
Ridiculous
would've get rid
numbers,
of
I
him,
would
right?
assume.
He's going to get.
I'm just gonna
target
bank
money
on it.
next year. Yeah.
The sun will come out tomorrow, and Ndamukong Suh most likely led the league
Be blocking it.
in tackles.
Oh yeah.
Or be blocking it, yeah. But like, point is like this dude is he's the strongest man in the NFL. With one arm, he just pulls people down all the time. He gets tackles left and right just by grabbing you with his arm. You can't run in the middle of any defense that he plays on. He's played on the Lions, two playoff games, lost. Played on the Dolphins, 1 playoff game in 3 years, lost.
It's him. He sucks.
There's nothing that you can do as a defensive lineman to change the outcome of that. He also said that he signed with the Dolphins because they offered him the most money, so I'll give him the most credit. I will give him credit for being honest about that.
You know where he's going?
The place that gives him the most money this year, I would assume.
The Redskins. Is that not a Redskins move? And then
It's
he
the
just
most Redskins
yeah, that
move.
is the
Who
most
has?
Redskins
Do they
move.
have enough cap space for that?
I don't
You
know.
Start clearing it out.
And he's worth part 2. And then he just sucks the rest of
Dan
his
Snyder.
career.
Do you know why Dan Snyder did not repay Kirk Cousins? Because he needed to pay Ndamukong Suh.
We're in. I got it. Makes
Two,
sense.
not make tackles, just take the double team. Do you remember that was part of what his coach told him to do? $100 million. Albert Hainsworth told first day of practice after he's getting paid $100 million to not go after the ball, but to just stand there and take the double team.
But people hate Jerry Jones. I got it.
I don't know if Dan Snyder told him to do that. I think a coach told him to do that, which is even funnier.
I think Dan Snyder told him to do that.
I don't know.
Is that not a Dan Snyder move? That's
Yeah, don't get hurt, kid. I don't know. I don't.
Man, does he not sign Sudo?
It would be a very Dan Snyder move. I'm
Sue
not
can
gonna,
pretty much
I
go
don't want
anywhere
him
he
to come
wants.
to the East, man.
can
Even
go
though it
anywhere
means
he
nothing,
wants.
and the Redskins still only win 6 games next year.
He's going anywhere. Of course, I don't want him in the East, but he's going anywhere he wants.
But yeah, whoever opens up the bank for him. I already do.
back to the show.
He'd be disrespecting that show.
So the Dolphins. Dolphins and Bills, can we laugh at them?
Ironically, yeah.
Alright. We'll talk about the Vikings. You brought up Kirk Cousins. I want to talk about that. Hold on. Back to the Browns real quick. I know you said it's just optimism in March, and I agree, but at least they are attempting something, yes. And then they, on the back end, traded away a couple players for some draft picks that they traded away.
They get a golf clap.
It is the most effort I have seen from the Browns.
Golf clap.
I'm not saying it produces
more,
wins.
Nothing more.
I'm not saying it produces wins.
Nothing more. Golf clap.
To the Vikings. Was Case Keenum so bad last year?
And there are 8 other quarterbacks.
Bradford got hurt.
Yeah.
Always. Teddy Bridgewater coming off of an injury.
Yeah. That is the one that made me more angry than the Bill situation.
I would like to see them re-sign him still.
They're not going to.
They're not going to, I agree.
That made me more. I don't know. I just felt like they did him grimy, like really grimy. That made me more angry than the Bill situation. I'm not saying he deserved to be an automatic starter, but
Give him the opportunity.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, if you do sign Cousins, you would assume Cousins would be starting. But I don't know.
To the highest contract in NFL history, you would definitely more than assume Kirk Cousins is going to be your starter next year.
Right. Even so, I don't know. I don't feel like he got a fair shake. And
They
now
might
he's
as well
to the-
sign you or me as the backup right now because that's what they're doing.
And now Bridgewater's to the Jets, which like RIP his career too, because that's such a Jets move.
The
But
Jets can now draft somebody as well, and they have 2 cheap quarterbacks. I see where they're going with that. We'll talk about that then. But
yeah,
was Case Keenum so bad last year that you couldn't offer him the mediocre contract the Broncos did?
I'm laughing because I'm envisioning him. What was that thing that he did when they won? What's that? Yeah, that one. I guess that little thing that they do meant nothing, and that I don't know what this yes thing was. That
When he
was
won-
doing. Not
when
the
they-
Daniel Bryan. No, the
Well, he did that when he made the pass.
that was what I was talking
I
about.
remember him doing
the
that.
little cute
So-
clapping. Yeah. Well, apparently the clapping wasn't good enough.
I mean, is your ceiling any higher with Kirk Cousins? Can you do any better with Case Keenum than you can with Kirk Cousins? Can you do any better with Kirk Cousins than you can with Case Keenum is what I meant to say, actually.
I think it's an upgrade. It's definitely an upgrade. I'll give him that. I don't think it's highest paid in NFL history upgrade. No.
Upgrade in the sense of if the Broncos paid a mid to high level contract for Keenum, where you paid the highest contract ever for Cousins, would have you gone the mid to high level over the highest ever? I mean, you're talking a couple more $1 million here. Would have you just taken the less money with Keenum and tried to build around him?
Nah.
You pay them more money for Cousins.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of people do because the quarterback position
I
is
think
that
he's
important,
He's definitely better.
and it's worth it. Okay.
I think Cousins is definitely
I'm not
better.
look, and I'm not one to argue
Keenum
that.
had his low moment. Is it more than that? I don't know. Cousins has more than a little moment at least. You can
Look,
give him that.
I think Case Keenum has a lot of talent, and I think that he
So
can
does
play.
Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
I think that Kirk Cousins does too, and I would have went the cheaper route in Keenum and tried to build around him. I don't
This is Madden. What do you take? You take a little more surefire thing, which would be Cousins.
Yeah, I mean,
That's kind of what they did.
you're talking like an 87 to an 85 rating here, right?
80.
87 to an 80?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I'm definitely taking that.
Right. I think that's what they did. They were like, okay, Keenum, he did all right, and he's not terrible.
It also depends on what you have them rated as well.
Right,
So they
right.
obviously felt like Cousins is that piece.
You have a great defense. They got some pieces. I think it's a definite upgrade.
First time in Kirk Cousins' football career since college, so first NFL that he's going to be playing meaningful football. So,
And he got out of that hellhole in Washington.
yeah, I mean, lucky him.
He's made the most obscene amount of money. Can we just say that? He finessed the Redskins for what? How many years did they tag him? 3? 2?
Too, with really high numbers though, because it was the quarterback position.
And on top of those 2 years now, he's on top of that.
Yeah.
He signs the highest.
The guarantee,
Shout outs to him.
the guarantee, I think, is $112 million over 7 years or whatever, including
Good
the
for
2
him.
years. I think it's over 7 years, 112 guaranteed.
He either just like finessed the.
That's
the biggest
generational money.
He either just did the biggest finesse job of all
Your
time,
grandkids,
or
your grandkids probably can live off of that. That's generational money.
man, he either just Ryan Fitzpatrick them, or
For 8 years of his life, 7 years of his life.
hey, good for him. And
Doesn't
like,
always
like I
work
said,
out that way for players.
No, and like I said, I think the Vikings definitely upgraded. But damn,
You expect
man,
them to be in the running then with the Packers next year for the division. You expect them to be with the Packers, the Seahawks, the Eagles, the Cowboys, all the other teams, the whole entire South outside of the Bucks, as we said. The Rams, which we'll talk about. You're talking about to be in the competition for the championship
Right.
next year. The Vikings back there.
All right, they're in the playoff conversation on paper.
You like
So-
Broncos getting Keenum? Do you still draft somebody if you're the Broncos?
I kind of shrugged it off. Yeah,
I like Keenum,
I kinda
but
shrugged it
I
off.
understand where you're going with. John Elway also
I kinda
knows
it's-
his quarterbacks.
Like I said,
so,
I
but he
think-
hasn't done that well since Manning.
I think Keenum had his moment, but I don't know if that's is that a year plan? Is that a 3-year plan? 5-year plan? I don't think so. I think he had his moment. I don't think it's gonna be much more than that.
I'm excited to see what he does this year. I'm not saying they shouldn't draft somebody. If you have a chance at a Baker Mayfield or a Lamar Jackson, go for it.
Yeah.
The Jets getting Bridgewater, I actually would agree with getting Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, somebody if you can get a quarterback if you can, because that might not be the answer, obviously, and you got to get talent around whoever you have at quarterback position with that roster, anyways.
And the Jets won't do that, so again, RIP to his career. That's a shame. He kind of got put in a real crappy situation. The Vikings kind of played him. You know, they did the Sam Bradford thing. Then they got the Case Keenum thing, and now they're saying, you know, we don't need you at all. After leading them to a playoffs, and he had a decent year. He didn't have a great year, but he had a decent enough year where he should have got another chance, another year. Now he's going to the Jets, where, and let's be honest, it's not going to matter. His career is basically done. It's the Jets, just like the Browns. You kind of just assume that RIP. We don't know this, but you just kind of assume just because the franchise and the moves
Jets
they
have to
make
get
and
better.
what happens when you,
They
when you
have,
go to
they
certain
have
teams.
to get better offensively and defensively. There's a lot of work. We're not just talking about one player or him and drafting a quarterback going to fix this. So I'm not disagreeing with
No
you.
matter how hard he tries,
Their
it's the
scheme,
Jets,
everything.
so
Yeah, absolutely.
he might be done, and that's a shame because, like I said, I feel like he got a
Or
raw-
maybe it could
he
be
got
like a
raw
path
deal.
for him to, have a good year or two, just not on a good team, and maybe get. I'm not disagreeing. So,
Nah.
the Chiefs picked up Sammy Watkins, who got released by the Rams. So, the Chiefs getting a little better on the outside. The Rams picked up a Chief. They picked up a Bronco. They're so good on the outside with Marcus Peters and Talib now. I thought
He
Richard
won't talk
Sherman was
about
going to
going
go
all
there.
in. He won't talk about going all in. Ain't the Eagles.
How
It's
about-
not the Eagles, it's them.
Because the Browns, the Eagles, I thought were both having good off seasons, right? And I thought we're making moves, trying to do as much as they can to start winning again. Eagles win the Super Bowl, Browns start winning. LA, though, I mean, these two moves set them right there with those teams I keep mentioning. And I kept not mentioning the Rams for a reason because I wanted to bring them up as they've made the best offseason moves so far, I would say, or at least the most impactful.
I'd say it's Eagles and Rams.
And the Rams have definitely separated themselves as we want to win today.
Yeah.
They are all
They
in.
definitely made us.
They are all in. Peters has had problems since before he came in the NFL and since he's been in the NFL off the field. And Talib had his issues as well. LA had no issue going after either of them in any second. Also, I think that has to do with having a young coach. He's only 32, so he relates to these guys. These guys are 33, 34, whatever he is. Talib's 31 or 32. You know what I mean? It's not like these guys are... So he relates to these guys. He can kind of... I feel like that's kind of why he's a little more easy to just jump in on it. Has no problem going after this. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
On paper.
It's going to take more than just Aaron Donald on the inside. They're going to need a couple more linebackers. But their defensive line is very good. They traded away Ogletree to the Giants.
like I said, so they need more linebackers. But linebackers is the only issue that they have right now. That's not bad.
No,
They
they're
have
in a
good.
good spot.
They
They're in
have
a good
a
spot.
great offense as we talk. I mean, what 30 points a game, 28 to 30 points a game last year. So they only upgraded that defense so far. They will probably draft a linebacker or something, you would assume, or go after
Right.
one in free agency. So LA is definitely, in my eyes, the team that everyone's going to have to watch out for. San Francisco
Oh, yeah, definitely.
getting Sherman. In Seattle being Seattle, the West is definitely going to be interesting. Do you believe in the Niners? I mean, they got Sherman. Sherman believes in them.
No.
Garoppolo, Shanahan.
No. I don't just because I don't believe in Garoppolo. Like I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon. Like I said at the end of the season, I'm gonna say. If
I think
he's- I'm
everyone's
say
going to pick them to
if-
make the
if-
playoffs
if-
next year. I
Everyone's
think
gonna pick him to win
everyone's
the
going to pick
MVP,
them.
like you said before. If this man comes out week 1 and throws for 400 yards, I'm still gonna say no. Like let's see
Oh,
what
we're going to
happens.
need a couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's pump the brakes. On paper, do they look good? Sure. The Rams, though, I think they demolished the Rams. I think the Rams demolished them. You know what's nice about the Rams signing for real? The biggest issue was when they got to the playoffs, they looked like they didn't belong. Now you sign talent that's been there, talent that
Yeah,
has
it will help
a ring.
you beat a
Now
team
you
like
have-
Atlanta. They beat Atlanta with better. I mean,
Right, I'm
Julio went
saying-
for 120 on them, 110 on them, 2 touchdowns.
I'm saying they signed dudes that have that playoff and Super Bowl experience
Absolutely.
that can coach these younger guys
to
up.
lead. And then you have
That's
Marcus Peters, who
genius,
is a
yeah, right.
top 5 corner in the league talent wise. I'm not disagreeing with
That's
you at all.
genius.
And they were already a top 10 defense, top 5 offense.
That's a scary team right there. And who'd have thought? Because at the beginning of last year, I'd have said no. And the Rams and
New coach, young quarterback. Gurley was the only thing I thought they had on the offense. They have a good offensive line.
Gurley stopped playing Gurley and he shut up last year. You know, like I said. I mean, I could be wrong. Just like I was wrong about the Rams last year, I could be wrong about the 49ers, but I'm not buying it. I don't buy in until I see it. The Rams, I saw last year, and then they only got better on paper. On paper, that's a scary situation because they're only going to improve, you would presume, and like we just said, they added those veteran pieces that we felt like they didn't have last year, and they got humiliated in the playoffs. That don't happen a second time around with these guys out there. I don't think so.
I agree. I think that defense has made them definitely somebody you don't think is going to give up that kind of number to Julio or any offense in a playoff game next year, and it will take them probably further. Now you got to look at them versus Green Bay or versus Seattle or maybe the Niners with the Eagles or any of those South teams.
Man, I just thought, how mad is St. Louis right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Rams become very good 2 years later, and now 3 years later, they are now a team that is going to be picked with the Niners, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Seahawks, any of those South teams as a championship team. I mean, they're going to be talked as a top 3 to top 5 NFC team next year, and yeah, they were the worst team in football the year they left St. Louis.
Shout out to the diehard St. Louis fans.
Talk about trusting
So
the process and tanking. They were tanking those
Yeah.
years.
Okay, better question. Who's madder? St. Louis with the Rams or Seattle with the Supersonics? When they were, with the Durant.
I want to say
Right?
probably Seattle.
Seattle.
Because
I
they went.
probably agree.
Well, this
Seattle
also
only had the
hold on.
Supersonics.
This also. Well, no, they had the Seahawks as well. This also,
Not when it's...
who were any good. I hear.
Right,
it.
yeah. Right.
This also isn't finished with LA. You got to give it another 4 to 5 years because remember, within 4 years after leaving Seattle is when they went to the finals. The Oklahoma City did. So if LA ends up going to the Super Bowl, you might be talking even there.
Wow. That's just crazy to think, man. So I guess that's the key. Relocate. Man.
Do you have anything else to talk about this week, Dwight?
No. Is that it for football?
Who would have thought an all-football show?
In March.
A pretty long one, a lot of content.
Oh, man. Is March Madness going on?
March Madness is going on. I mean,
Have you watched any of it? I haven't, but...
it starts Thursday is the big tournament. Tuesday and Wednesday there's playing games.
Is anything going on?
Do you want a Final Four? I guess.
That's what Jared Hood does. It's JD Sports.
Duke,
Notre Dame. Oh.
Kansas,
Notre Dame. Oh.
Nova.
Notre Dame. Oh. You don't want to talk about it.
You can take anybody else from the other bracket. So I don't understand how Syracuse got in over Notre Dame, even though I don't think either team deserved to, because Notre Dame's player that was hurt, that the only reason that they would have made it is because number 35, Bonzi Coleman, he got injured early in the season. He was a senior. They were like 6-1. They beat 2 top 10 teams when he was playing. He got hurt, didn't come back until the second to last game of the season. They won 3 games in the tournament and one of the 2 games that he came back for. And they beat Virginia once, who was the number 1 seed overall. So they put a decent resume up when he came back and before he got injured, but they didn't have a good resume at all when he was injured. So I'm not disagreeing with Notre Dame being out of the tournament. My question and problem is, how are you putting Syracuse, who had a worse season overall and didn't beat any good team? They didn't beat Virginia. They didn't beat any good team. They had the same record, didn't beat and Notre Dame and them split. But again, without Notre Dame's best player, they put Syracuse in the tournament. I don't think either team deserved to be in it. I understand why Notre Dame's not in
Syracuse, since this is.
And it's college basketball, and it's Syracuse, right? And they're blue blood.
Nobody cares about Notre Dame basketball.
It's agreed, and it's just, to me, it's just not a.
So it's contracts.
Maybe, but I didn't. That was the only, like, hey man, if you're gonna throw Syracuse in there, you should have thrown Notre Dame a bone too, because Notre Dame absolutely played better than Syracuse. Look, with their player in, they were head and shoulders, no question, better than Syracuse was at any point in the season. But not whatever. That's neither here nor there, because I think that Syracuse, even if they win a game or two in the tournament, they're not making it to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. Like, we're not. I'm not going anywhere near that, nor do I think Notre Dame would have made it to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 myself anyway. So, can't sit here and argue over the small things like that. Would like to see them in it. Always would like to see, the team you love in it. That's part of it. But, I don't know. I think that the hardest thing to do in sports, as I said earlier, to repeat in is the NCAA tournament. I think Nova and Duke have the 2 best teams. Nova would have to repeat. That's a really hard thing to do. And Duke has lost to teams that they should not have lost to multiple times this year. So, the fun part about college basketball this season it's been the most unpredictable college basketball season I've ever witnessed. I mean, you might see more upsets than ever before. I don't even know who I'm rooting for in the tournament, to be honest with you. I have no really, because my Notre Dame's not in it, Temple's not in it, so I don't really have
I say Notre Dame's never in it, so I mean, they're used to that.
Kentucky is built, even though they haven't had a good team, they're built for a tournament style thing. They have really good guards, and I mean they can just make you run. So teams who haven't played Kentucky, and they have a lot of skill. So teams who aren't long and haven't played Kentucky and can't run with Kentucky, they're built for a tournament style setting. So I wouldn't be surprised, especially with how good of a coach they have, if they make a deep run.
So you're saying usual suspects?
Yeah, for sure, because of the coaches and how obviously talented those teams are. As I said, I think Duke is the most talented team in the whole thing. They have 2 guys that can put up 30 on any given night or on the same night, and that they can do that 8 times. You win the championship. So, but they've also, like we talked about, lost teams they shouldn't have this year. So we'll see. Nova's also ridiculously talented. That's why I picked Nova to go far. But that's hard to do, is to do what they did last year and then do it again this year. I mean, that just takes so much out of you. Also, they won their conference tournament last year and they won their conference tournament this year. So you would be talking about 4 tournaments in a row, 4 do-or-die tournaments in a row where they can't lose a game that they would have to win. The probability of that is so low, even though the Big East isn't all that difficult and they are going to run through the first 3 rounds of that every time anyways. Just the probability of them doing it. Not saying they can't, though. And maybe that's who I'm pulling for. I really like Jay Wright, even though I'm not a big Nova guy. College basketball, real quick, off the tournament, sadly. Rumors coming out of Georgia that they would sign Rick Pitino, who was the head coach for the Louisville Cardinals, that had literally, I don't know, more than you can count allegations against them, and one included prostitutes who weren't telling the recruits they were prostitutes and still having sex with them anyways.
So what were they telling them? These are just girls. What were they saying?
Yeah, these are just girls.
We found them on Tinder.
So
basically, right?
So basically, what they were doing is they were
swiping.
They were having dorm parties,
and they
Hey,
would tell
what
the
a party
players
you had?
they would the one
So
assistant
they were support. Wait, time out.
The
So they were
one
supporting these players having parties.
the one he was an assistant. He was a
Which
graduate
half
assistant.
of them are 21.
Okay.
What kind of parties are these?
So this one kid was a graduate assistant
There's so many questions.
who
now.
was
I didn't
friends
realize
with
all this.
he was friends with the players, but he was also technically on the coaching staff. But he was a graduate assistant, so he was just 23, 22.
Oh, so he bought the beer. Got it.
He would say to the star player, "Hey, party's here.
I got your natty ice, bro.
Party's at this dorm tonight. I heard.
I got the natty ice for y'all.
Take the recruit to that one."
$22.
So they would take the recruit there, and the players who went didn't know that they were prostitutes either. So they're all hooking up with these girls who were paid to hook up with them.
Or whatever. So
Then they're all going to the school because they're seeing their boy hooking up with this girl. They're hooking up with this girl.
I went to the wrong school apparently. See, they signed that guy. Must be nice to be on top.
They didn't sign him. They're talking about it.
Must be nice to be at the top.
And he claims he didn't know anything about any of that.
You never fall. Yeah, okay, bro. Whatever.
I'm not saying I
Homie,
think that
homie.
he clearly knew all about all of it.
Like,
He
look,
was
look,
part
you're
of
not
it.
going to know everything, but
He's also not the only one in
Bruh.
college basketball doing bad things, but he is
Bruh.
he is the
Bruh.
face of what you should not be doing. And Georgia it shows how far people will go to win.
all right, I'm ignorant. Who knew more, him or Joe Pa?
Joe Pa.
So does Al Pacino play this guy in the movie?
He could.
Did you see that? That man looks just like Al. It's ridiculous.
He could play Petrino. Couldn't he?
Paterno plays Pacino.
No,
What do you mean no?
but Scarface could.
Yeah, yeah, that's what why did I say Paterno? Pacino plays.
Petrino. He could, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Couldn't he
yeah.
though?
Yeah.
He could play both.
I
of
don't,
them.
I don't know. Paterno. I'm mixing up these names
Paterno,
now.
Petrino.
Yeah. Scarface. We'll call him Scarface. I don't know. He's getting a little up there. He's looking
He
a
is.
little. He's getting a little rough. Like the Joe Pa thing, it fit. And like I was like, yeah, it's Joe Pa.
Yeah, but Petrino looks like a vampire. He looks like he's 1,000 years old.
That's so.
Skin leather.
It's so bad. That's so bad. I actually did have something else with football, because I'm salty, because I'm a Cowboys fan.
Here we go.
Orlando Scandrick apparently has asked for his release.
How you feel about that, Dwight?
Pretty pissed off.
Let's see if there was any news that broke before we.
Pretty pissed off because, Cowboys, I've been saying for how many years now? That we don't have a secondary, and who's been our constant? I don't know, 2 years ago we got rid of Church. This year, Scandrick's bouncing. I haven't heard about Cowboys signing anybody, so I'm just wondering what in the blue hell are we doing? Everybody's making moves. Giants making moves. The Eagles making moves. The Redskins making quarterback moves. I haven't heard a single thing. What is the Cowboys doing? Other than assuming Zeke's coming back for the full year, which that's just presumed at that point. So,
I mean,
I don't know.
I haven't seen anything.
The only thing I've heard is about Dez might not should come back. So, I mean,
I haven't seen anything with the Cowboys. No breaking news, by the way, but I haven't seen anything with the Cowboys this entire offseason other than, like you said, releasing him or him asking for the release.
and the Dez thing, which Jerry says he wants to keep him, and this that.
I
and
don't
third,
think
but
they're going to release Dez.
I don't either. No.
I don't think Dez wants to go anywhere either.
No, they don't. So I think this whole story's nonsense. But again, okay, so other than the Dez thing,
In the next
what are they doing?
couple days, you would hope that
Haven't
the
heard of
Cowboys make a big
anything.
move. Make a move. You got to sign somebody defensively. You would
clearly
expect.
we need another corner, as if we didn't already need one.
Um,
Man, it's rough out there. Our secondary is just freaking garbage, man.
and teams seem to be making moves left and right already as it is.
Our secondary is absolute trash, and now we lose. In the past 2 years, we lost to two guys that was like, okay, we had Church, okay, we had Scandrick. Now we don't have either one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost Claiborne, but whatever.
Right.
And now I can't even name who's left. I really can't off the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank. That's horrible, and I don't like it. It's a damn shame.
As an
What
Eagles
else is
fan, I'll
going
take
on?
it.
Of course you will. What else is going on? WrestleMania is shaping up, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
I'm just gonna say, I'll just throw it out there. It's looking nice on paper. It's looking very nice. The other thing, it's still too damn long. The whole 4-hour things is still too much. But on paper, it's looking really solid this year. I'm liking it.
When is it?
Second week of April.
All right.
It's looking very solid on paper. Like, I haven't seen anything that I'm like, yet. It's very solid. There's probably about, I don't know, 5 or maybe 6 matches so far. I'm guessing, but those couple that have been confirmed at this point, it's okay. It's okay. There's some questionable things, which we'll get into with the Taker thing, which we'll talk about it. We will definitely talk about the John Cena Taker thing, which is clearly 1,000% happening now, but there's some questionable things, but on paper, solid. I like it.
More football news will be coming as well.
You would assume.
Basketball's heating up here towards the end. The Spurs have fallen to the 7th, tied for the 7th and 8th seed. Also, only one game above the 9th and 10th position. So we will definitely talk about basketball coming
When
up.
did that happen?
Last week, in the last 2 weeks, I mean, they've just free fallen. The Blazers are 3rd.
Oh, shout out to Dame, but that's wild. Also shows how tight the West is, that you can lose a couple games and just fall that much.
We will definitely talk about the West and NBA more. Like I said, football will definitely be ramping up. The Phillies signed Jake Arrieta to a big deal. We'll talk about baseball. My feelings on that and more.
Shout out to the Lakers for beating LeBron's and his bum team, the Cavaliers. Shout out to IT.
Flyers are first in their division. Shout out to them.
I saw the Sixers finally lost a game too. I did see
Yeah,
that.
it took a while, but they did.
Took a while.
They
It
did.
did take a while.
Then they ended up beating the Brooklyn Nets like 120 to like 80 something the game
Brooklyn
after.
Nets,
I
that's
know.
right.
So they felt pretty good about themselves coming right back
See what?
after. They hopefully they can keep momentum. That's one win, but
I mean, the way that the Cavs look at this point.
pretty sure they play tonight.
Yeah, they do. They play the Raptors.
Yeah.
The way the Cavs are looking right now, who the hell knows what's going to happen with the East?
We'll talk about
Who the
that as
hell
well.
knows? You're not banking on Toronto.
So Dwight,
Yep.
I don't see us taking a break next week. Because we've said it every week and it hasn't happened, so,
that
we
means,
will.
that means,
we will see.
Gotcha.
Have a good weekend, JD Sports.